about them Stars? We're up 2-1. We're gonna win tomorrow. Gonna win the Stanley Cup. Everyone watch hockey over the weekend? Sheesh. Come on. You know, it's like cool. Well, check it out. Anyways, hey, headphones. Okay, now look, quiz tomorrow. That's our last kind of regular normie grade for the 9 weeks, for the semester, for the year, because after that we're gonna review and then we're gonna have finals. So like, if I can click this, there we go. So we got this week, and then we got next week, and then we're done, right? So this week is normal. Next week has some early release. So we're gonna finish strong. So we got one little notes today, quiz tomorrow. I'll update your grades, and then we'll be done. So let's finish strong. Don't give up yet. We're not at the finish line. Well, today we're talking about Pythagorean theorem triples. Make sure you've turned in the Pythagorean theorem assignment from last couple classes, Thursday, Friday. All right, here's a warm-up. We got a right triangle, and we know two sides, right? We have the two legs that are next to 90, A and B, but we're missing C, the hypotenuse. So let's go ahead and write the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, hold on. My pen is not working for some reason. Goodness gracious. Okay, unfortunately, my pen is not working, so I have to do this with my finger. Let's see how this works. Draw, please. Yes, thank you. Draw with touch. Okay, so we got Pythagorean theorem. A and B are the legs. We have 3 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. What is 3 times 3? 9. What is 4 times 4? 16. Add them up, you get 25. And then, is 25 the answer? No. To get rid of that square, we have to square root. And the square root of 25 is 5. Okay? So make sure you, goodness gracious. Make sure you have this. So aggravating. Okay, yeah, make sure you have this written down for your Monday warm-up. Did you turn in last week's warm-up? If you were absent Friday, make sure you turn that in. Okay. Well, the plan today was to go over these notes for Pythagorean triples, but my pen is not working, so I cannot write on here, and when I write with my finger, garbage. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pass out your notes. Not like that. Hold on one second. Since my pen is not working, I'm gonna put up the notes. I already filled out. I know the temptation is just to copy it down, but I want you to hear what I'm saying as we go over this, okay? As you saw in our learning target today, we're talking about triples. Hold this. Triples are when you have three whole numbers that make a right triangle. Now let me tell you, normally right triangles don't make three whole numbers. Like it doesn't usually work. Usually one of them's a decimal or with a square root or something. So it's kind of unique when there's three whole numbers. Let me show you. Okay, so looking at your notes, the first blank is literally what we just did. It is called a Pythagorean triple. You can start writing it down if you haven't already. The first blank. Okay, if you have 3 and 4 for your legs, your hypotenuse will always be 5. You can just memorize that. You know it. It only works in that order. 3, 4, 5. 5 is the hypotenuse for the same work we had on our warm-up. Okay. So like it says at the top, Pythagorean triples are sets of 3 whole numbers that satisfy the Pythagorean theorem. Okay. On your next one, you're missing a leg. Okay, so you're gonna have to like imagine that the blank is there for A. What would A be if my legs were 12 and 13? Well, off to the right here, we solved it. Okay. With a missing A value, okay, so A squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. You square the numbers, subtract the constant, and square root of 25 is 5. So this is demonstrating what we can know from now on. It's that is that 5, 12, and 13 make a right triangle, right? 5, 12, 13. So if your two legs are 5 and 12, then you know the hypotenuse is 13. Cool. All right, now on the next one. We had 7 as a leg, 25 as a hypotenuse. We had a missing leg. If you do the math, you end up getting 24 for your missing leg. You have a Pythagorean triple. Whole numbers that make a right triangle of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then last but not least, on this page, if your two legs are 8 and 15, you do the math off to the right, you get the square root of 289, you get 17 as your missing hypotenuse. Okay, so fill that in. Give you a minute. All right. So just to recap this page before we flip it over, there are 4 Pythagorean triples that I would like for you to be able to recognize. And what I mean by recognize is if you see a right triangle with a 3 and a 4 for a leg, you got to just know it's 5 for the hypotenuse. you could always just do Pythagorean theorem, but I'm trying to save you some time, save you some work. If you can identify these, saves you time. Okay. So you're allowed to just know this without showing work if it's a triple, but you got to know it's a triple. Okay. You can't memorize it messed up, and these can be kind of deceiving. Like, so for example, if I see a right triangle with a leg of 3 and 5, that's not a triple. Even though 3 and 5 are part of a triple, 5 has to be the hypotenuse. Okay, so it's very important that we know the triples and the order of them as well. So if you flip it over, does anyone still need this? So if you flip it over right here, okay, now not only do we have triples, but we have what are called multiples of triples. If you multiply the triple, you get another triple. Here's what I mean. 3, 4, 5 is a right triangle, yes? Yes. What if you multiply 3, 4, and 5 by 2? 6, 8, 10, that's also technically a Pythagorean triple. It's not unique, it's just a multiple of the base triple, 3, 4, 5. So on the next one, originally there was a blank for the hypotenuse. If you have 9 and 12 and a blank for the hypotenuse, if you're able to mentally think, oh wait, 9 and 12 are multiples of 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. Then my hypotenuse will be 5 times 3. I'm taking the 3, 4, 5, multiplying each of them by 3 to get the missing hypotenuse. And on the last one, the hypotenuse is 20. That could be the hypotenuse 5 multiplied by 4. So 3 times 4 and 4 times 4 give you the missing legs. Okay? Does everyone understand? There are 4 triples we've talked about on the front side and any of their multiples. So there's an infinite amount of triples based on one triple. But so far we talked about 4 triples. And then FYI, there are even more triples out there, but they're really big numbers. We're not going to worry about them. Okay. Now here's your task for today. So does everyone have this written down? Hopefully. Yes? So here's your task for today at the bottom, okay? I want you to try this. At the end, we'll go over the answers, right? But what you're going to try to do is fill in these blanks based on what we just talked about, okay? Is everyone looking up here? So look at number 1, A, B, C, D, okay? It tells you that these are 5, let's see here, how do I get let me draw here. 5, 12, 13 triangle, right? So you know it's 5, 12, 13, but none of these numbers say 5, 12, 13 because they are multiples. So you're trying to think, what am I multiplying 5, 12, and 13 by to get the ones I know? Okay, so you're asking yourself, hey, how did they get 45? What did they multiply 5 by? You can figure that out, hopefully, by dividing. And then that multiple is how you're going to figure out the missing blank. You take that missing one times the multiple to get the blank. If that doesn't make sense, you can talk to your partners near you, ask them, or talk to me, okay? But again, you're taking the triple, asking yourself, how did they get these numbers? What did they multiply by? And then use that information to find the blank, okay? Now, 3 through 8 is a little bit more challenging because you don't know which triple it is. But there are 4 options, okay? So at the bottom here, one of these 4 is going to multiply to make the numbers you are given. So you try them out. See which one of these triples, can multiply to give you the numbers that are given. Once you know the triple, you can figure out the multiple and find the missing blank, okay? So do your best. You can work together. We're going to go over it together at the end, but I want you to have done an earnest try and attempt on this, okay? All right, I'm going to leave it up here. Go ahead and get started on that, and if I have something else for you to work on, I will give it to you.